Cage Warriors 186 this Friday night in London, the night before UFC Fight Night, Edwards vs Brady. I'm just going to run through the card, give you my predictions, and then I'll show you what bets I'm putting on at the end as well. Should be a good card. Not the best Cage Warriors card, but there's a couple of title fighters on it now, with George Hardwick's title fight being moved to tonight, so that'll be headlining the prelims, and then his brother Harry Hardwick versus Garcia. That's going to be the main event. I'll just have a look through now. Going from the first fight, so we've got Harry Shaw versus Jan Masek. Now, I've been doing a bit of tape on these fights as well. The ones where the odds were too wide, I just left those fights out. I didn't do much tape on them because I thought I'm not going to be putting them on anyway. But I'll just give you my brief thoughts on them without the tape as well. But this first fight, I did watch a bit of tape because I think Harry Shaw should get the win. And just let's have a look at his odds real quick. I think he's only 1-2, so I'm happy with 1-2 odds. That's all right. The furthest I go is like 3-1 usually. Slightly more if I'm really confident they're going to win. But anyway, so Harry Shaw versus Jan Masek, both looking like strikers. Harry Shaw in his last fight, he's coming off a win over Steph Murray. Got his back took a couple of times in that fight early on. But I don't think he'll have to worry about that against Jan Masek. And then I watched a couple of his other fights. He looks alright as a striker. He looks pretty relaxed, and he's got a bit of wrestling as well, like in the Steph Murray fight. He managed to take Steph Murray down as well and get his own takedowns there. So I think his grappling is a little bit better than Jan Masek's as well, from what I've seen anyway. He's lost to a good guy in Liam McCracken in his pro debut, and he did alright in his amateur career as well. I didn't look into that too much, but yeah, from what I've seen of him, he looks pretty good, confident, not too wild. He looks decent. And then I watched Jan Masek's last fight. He fought Conor Patterson, who's a good fighter in his own right. He's coming off a good amateur career, and then he's 1-0 as a pro. Got beat in that one. He got wrestled. He got took down pretty easily, I would say. And even on the feet, he's known as a bit of a striker. But I thought Conor Patterson landed good shots on the feet as well. He's probably getting the better of him though. Other than that, I didn't really watch any of his other fights, to be honest. But from what I've seen, I'm happy putting Harry Shaw on there, and I'm pretty confident in it. As you'll see when I get to my accumulators, I'm going to put like a 4-fight one on, and then a bigger one just for a bit of fun. But he's going to be one of my main picks on the 4-fight one, because I'm pretty confident he can get the win here. Obviously it's fighting, anything can happen, but yeah. So moving on, we've got Joe Middleton versus Craig Rawlins. Now the odds on this fight are ridiculous. It's like 1-40 for Joe Middleton, and Craig Rawlins is 12-1. So I just didn't bother looking at that fight. I think the odds speak for themselves who should win. Probably Joe Middleton. Now the next fight, Tommy Brunin versus Kadeem Perkins. Tommy Brunin is 1-2, but he's coming off 2 losses to, as you've seen, this Richard Callios he fought last weekend, upsetting Sam Kelly again. He's coming off 2 upset wins now, where people probably thought he wasn't going to get the win, myself included, and then he's managed to pull it out. But he's good, Richard Callios. I guess he's showing his level. He's pretty tricky on the ground, and I know he's from a judo background as well. And the fight before that, he fought this guy, and this guy's pretty good. I've been looking at his record as well. And he's had a good amateur career, this Tommy Brunin. And I do think he's alright. I think he's a bit raw, and he probably tries a bit too hard. He needs to relax a little bit. But when I watched this Kadeem Perkins debut, he didn't look great. And he fought a guy who wasn't great. He looks raw as well. And his amateur career wasn't as good as Tommy Brunin's on paper. And after watching both of them, I would say Tommy Brunin's probably the slightly better fighter. So I would back Tommy Brunin in that. I might put him on my big parlay, but not my most confident pick. Moving on. Let's go to the next fight. We've got Danny Blundell versus Rafael Aronov. Now, another one what I'm pretty confident with. Even though he's 6-6, Aronov, he's fought really good level competition. last fight was against Sean Clancy Jr., who's really good, and he's showing his level. Lost to O'Meal Brown, and he's had 2 good wins though against Jamie Richardson and the next gen Ben Petchis Kelly. And I remember these fights. I remember him. He's done all right, and I just think he's way better than Danny Blundell. Danny Blundell's 6-3. Coming off a loss to Tarek Pell, who's a good fighter in his own right, who's fighting on this card as well. And lost to another good fighter in this guy, this Helaj Njai. But yeah, I don't think he's great, to be honest. And I just think Rafael Aronov's the better fighter. So I'm going to go Aronov on that, and that's another one of my more confident picks. Moving on quickly, we're going to go to the next fight. Riri Hudson versus Miriam Grubb. Now, I did a bit of tape on these as well. Riri Hudson, very stiff. She's very, very stiff. She got KO'd in her last fight. Well, it was like a TKO. She got dropped with a hook. She was doing alright before that in the fight. She was landing a good stiff jab, and she has got power, obviously. She won a debut at Pro with a big knockout. And that you couldn't have landed much cleaner with the shot she landed there. But she's very stiff, very, very stiff. Not very high level at all, I would say, in my opinion. No offence. But she's fighting this Miriam Grubb, who's also, I wouldn't say she's like the best, but she seems to be getting better in her fights. This is her pro debut, and she's pretty tough, and she seems like she's getting better each time. And I think, yeah, I don't know if she'll get finished. She could do, but I think she's good enough to not get finished, and then I think anything can happen really. And she's 2-1, this Miriam Grubb. She's 2-1. Where is it? Yeah, here, just over 2-1, and I think that's fair game for put on if you fancy an underdog. I think she's a very live underdog because it's a pretty even fight to me. That's what I would say. I might put that one my bigger parlay, but yeah, not one of my more confident picks because anything can happen. Next fight, Cameron Stewart versus Daniel Crooks May. Both 0-1, but both probably a little bit better than that record suggests. Cameron Stewart coming in off a loss to Yusuf Nazakotov from Next Gen. Been around a long time, Yusuf. Was fighting back when I was fighting in 2012 and 13 and whatnot. And he's really good. He's like making his pro debut against that kind of level. Lost a decision, I think it was 2-1 to Yusuf. So it wasn't terrible, and I watched some of his other fights, and I think he looks pretty good, this Cameron Stewart. And that's a very tough pro debut to come into. So you can't knock him for that. On the other hand, Daniel Crooks May, I was watching his last fight against Jordan Little. Now, it was an even fight that. They were both catching each other, got rocked. He rocked Jordan Little, and then it ended in a illegal knee from... Yeah, it ended in a legal knee. He need sorry. On that. Yeah, Daniel Crooks May need Jordan Little when he was down in the 3rd round or 2nd round even, and it was a very even fight up until that point. And he didn't look super clean. I would say Cameron Stewart looks the cleaner fighter. Another one I'm not super confident in. I think this could be a good fight though, entertaining. And I think it could go either way, that one. I would lean towards Cameron Stewart, though. I think he's just a tighter technique. And I think his wrestling was alright as well. I think he could get Daniel Crooks May down and win in there. Next fight, Joanny Scott versus Johnny Tuma. Another one where the odds are too wide, so I didn't bother doing any tape, but I've seen them both fight before. And Joanny Scott, I don't think he's good enough for the odds what they giving him in this fight anyway. It's not like he's a world beater. He's had some good wins and he's looked alright, but he's never looked like amazing. And just let me have a look at the odds really quick. So yeah, 1 to 10, it's not worth the odds, and 5 to 1, Johnny Tuma. I think he's a good little underdog as well. I don't think he's going to win. I think Giovanni Scott should probably win. But I've seen this Johnny Tuma have some good scraps on that in Sweden on that Fight Club Rush. He's had some really good fights though. A bit of a mixed record, but he's pretty good, and he's fought some tough guys over there in Sweden. And I don't think it's fair to have Giovanni Scott at 1 to 10 though. So definitely, even though I think he should win, I think Johnny Tuma's definitely alive in that fight at 5 to 1 if you fancied a punt. But yeah, I'm going to leave that one off. Next fight, George Adwick versus Samuel Silva. Now the odds ain't even out for this because it's a bit of a late notice fight on my sportsbook, so I'm leaving that one off. I think George Adwick should win hopefully, but yeah, I didn't look into that one too much. Next fight, another late replacement, Singh versus Sawa. So I've not really looked into that one. Moving on, Tarek Pell versus Emil Shafiri. And one I did look at a little bit. Now, they're both talented guys. Tarek Pell looks good, and he looks like he's getting better. He's only 26. Last win against that Danny Blundell wasn't the highest level fight, and lost to Sean Fraser before that. But this Sean Fraser looks like he's pretty decent, looking at his pro and amateur career. And then he had a good knockout over Michael Blur. Early one, he just caught him with a nice hook in that fight. It was pretty good. And he looks like he's had a good amateur career as well. He's coming up against Emil Shafiri now. I was watching Emil Shafiri's fight. Good win, rear naked choke against Aaron Johnson in his last fight. Aaron Johnson's been around a long time as well. He's no bum. And Emil Shafiri made easy work of him. Now the loss against Simone Patrizi, he was dominating that fight up until the last round. And he was even winning the last round, and he just got caught with a shot off the break against the cage. He got a bit tired, and he got caught with a right hand. Yeah, and that put him out, but he was winning that fight. So had he not got caught late in that fight, you'd be looking at a 6-0-1 guy here. He has been finishing his amateur career as well by strike, so that shows that maybe he can get cracked. But I think he's good. He's the underdog in this, slight underdog in this fight, and I think he could get the win. I'm going to lean towards Emil Shafiri. I'll put him on my bigger parlay, but not on my more confident one. Yeah, I think they're both good fighters, so it should be an entertaining one. That next fight, got Charles Joyner versus Yannick Bahati. Now a rematch. The last fight, Charles Joyner was probably going to win, to be honest. Yeah, Yannick Bahati might have had a round in there, but Charles Joyner was doing the better work in the third round, and he caught him with a second eye poke, and then the fight got called a draw when it went to the judges' scorecard. So I guess they did both win a round each. It was 1-1 going into the third, so they took the two rounds to score the fight. But it definitely looked like Charles Joyner was on his way to winning that fight. So I'm going to go with him again to win this fight. Hopefully it doesn't catch him in the eyes again. He looks really relaxed. He's 6'8", this guy. Very tall. Training at a good gym, TFT. And I think maybe he took Yannick Bahati a bit lightly in his last fight early on. And then, but I can't see it happening again. I think Charles Joyner's the better fighter. Yannick Bahati's been around a long time. He's been in there with some tough guys, to be fair. I think he fought Duplessis back in the day in the EFC. He's fought Melvin Manov, Mike Shipman. This Luke Trainer is pretty good. You know what I mean? He's been in there with some good guys. But yeah, I think Charles Joyner's the better fighter. He's only 29 as well, and he should get this one done. Yeah, so we're going to go with Charles Joyner on that one. Next fight, Will Curry versus Eli Aronov. I think this is probably Rafael's brother, or definitely related. They're from the same gym as well. It's tricky, this one. I think they both could win it. Will Curry's got really good top pressure when he gets there, and so's Eli Aronov. Both coming off losses on the Contender Series. Both good fighters though. What I would say is, I think Will Curry's had trouble in the past before when people can get on top. Like, I was watching the Mick Stanton fight back. Even though Mick Stanton's really good, probably a bit better than Eli Aronov. But when he did get on top and he managed to sweep Will Curry a few times, he gave him trouble and he could hold the position, even though he's going for mad submissions and falling off of things. Where I don't think Eli Aronov's going to be doing that if he gets on top. I think he's going to be controlling the fight. And like if you watch Eli Aronov's last win before he went into the Contender Series, just got the guy down, looked to control him, and finish with him with an arm triangle. He's massive as well, this Aronov. He's like, he's a beast. Probably definitely on the roads and that. And then he was probably winning this fight against Zach Reese. Well, you can't say winning, it was a minute in. But he was doing good against him. He took him down, he was landing good shots and just left his arm in there for an armband and tried to pull out of it. It was very like rookie, newbie mistakes to do. He could have stacked him really easily as well. So that makes you question. I don't know. Makes you question it. His defensive capabilities on the ground. I think Will Curry's pretty good like that with his submission offense. But it's a close fight. I would say I can see Aronov getting him down and controlling him. To be fair. And I think Will Curry will struggle to get him down and put him on his back because he's a bit of a beast. So I'm swaying towards Eli Aronov on that, but probably my least confident pick of them all. But he's a good underdog to have. Next fight, Nick Bagley versus Coene Lopez. Now, Nick Bagley, aka Steroid, because he's deaf on gear, against Coene Lopez. I think Bagley gets this one done. I think he does him just like Hardwick did him in his last fight. He's got big hooks, this Coene Lopez. He's got power, and he can definitely cause an upset if he catches Nick Bagley early. But Harry Hardwick took his back and he was very close to getting a rear naked choke. And I think Nick Bagley's probably a little bit stronger than Hardwick. And I think if he gets Coene's back, he finishes him by rear naked choke, just like he did in his last two fights. Well, four. Last four fights he finished by rear naked choke, and I see him getting that again, to be fair. I see it being similar to this Jordy Bax fight, but I would say Jordy Bax has probably got better grappling than Coene Lopez, coming from like a judo background, and they're like similar builds. Jordy Bax is a decent striker as well, but probably not as powerful as Coene Lopez. So I think Nick Bagley managed to weather the punches early, or gets an early takedown and just takes Lopez's back and chokes him out, to be honest. That's the way I see it. Could definitely be an upset though if he gets caught, but I think more likely Nick Bagley's going to get it done. And then the main event, odds are too wide again. Hopefully Harry Hardwick can get it done though. This Javier Garcia, drug cheating, been done for drugs back in a few fights ago. Hopefully Harry Hardwick gets it done, but not looked into it too much. So let's have a look at what I'm putting on. So I'm definitely going to put this parlay on. We're going to go with Rafael Aronov to beat Danny Blundell. Then we're going to go Harry Shaw to beat Jan Masek. Cameron Stewart, we're not going to put that one on, I don't think, actually. It's Nick Bagley to beat Coene Lopez. And then Charles Joyner to beat Bahati. And if you put a tenner on that, you're getting like 50 quid back. Now, I'm pretty confident in that bet, so I'm definitely going to be putting this one on. Just to play it a bit safe and see if I can start getting these safe accumulators in rather than just going for the big ones all the time. Anything can happen though, it's fighting, isn't it? So it's not guaranteed. Of course, like these guys could lose. That's always a possibility as well. But I'm pretty confident in that bet. So I'm definitely going to put that one on. And then I'll probably put like another one on just with the rest of the fights where I think. So I'll probably put Tommy Bruning on. Mim, Grub, pretty sure she's called Miriam. I'll leave these ones off because the odds are too wide. Cameron Stewart. Maybe I'll leave the Aronov and Curry one off. Emil's your Fury. This fight's no longer on. And then I'll leave the last one off as well. So 10 on that gets me 989 back. Obviously some risky fights in there, especially with like the 0-1, 1-0 guys. Who knows what kind of leaps they're making in the progress and stuff like that. But they're the two bets I'm probably going to put on. I'll probably stream Cage Warriors again as well. Depending on what time I get back from the gym, I might jump on and do whatever prelims are left, and then the main card I'll definitely be streaming. So come back then if you want to watch along. And then, yeah, check my UFC picks out as well. We'll be streaming that on Saturday while it's on early time in London. But yeah, good luck for the weekend. Let us know what you're putting on. And I'll see you on the weekend if you come back.